Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on another episode of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, I want to introduce y'all to a sponsor of ours for the network, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players playing to play so many hopes of playing and hope so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on the quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Wherever you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro pros a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media at Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Now on to the show. With the NBA Finals tied up at 2-2, who has the advantage going to the next game tomorrow night? Plus, does Steph Curry have to carry the load for the Warriors in order for them to win the championship? We'll discuss that and much more. And can the Celtics just stick to the game plan against the Warriors team and kind of close it out? Plus, we'll go over a little draft talk about the top five picks in the NBA draft. What team do they need? What players do we envision going there? So we'll discuss that much more here on Fast Break for IE Sports Radio, live for y'all here tonight. And you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into. NBA Finals is tied at 2-2. So a lot to discuss there. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. The last game of the NBA Finals was very interesting. I definitely thought that Boston was going to take that big lead, go 3-1, but that definitely didn't happen. Steph Curry he went crazy.
Just gotta imagine this, D-Lock. Like, if the finals didn't change formats and stuff like that, and the finals were still 2-3-2, then if Boston had won that game, then we're looking like a 4-1 potential gentleman sweep. That's something crazy to think about right there. And also, if they kept the old format, you're talking about potentially Boston, if they win the next game tomorrow, they can close it out at home against Golden State.
That's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Right now, Boston came to play, but so did Golden State. Came back. Steph Curry was definitely a big play, played a huge part. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens in Golden State this next game.
So we'll just hop on it right now. Last time we were up here, Warriors tied up at 1-1. Get to Wednesday, they take a 2-1 lead. But Friday, we thought things could have went their way. The Warriors win by 10. D-Lock, what were your impression the Warriors win on Game 4 Friday night?
For me, it just tells me that the Warriors can score anytime they want. If you lack defense, they're gonna kill you, and that's a lot of things that many people don't pay attention to. A lot of teams, but also the turnovers would affect Boston. It seems like a lot of games that they lose, turnovers will affect them. For me, I just feel like it was a big game that they played, and Golden State was just ready. They came with it. They knew how important that game was, and they showed how important it was to them. So for me, I just feel like Golden State was showing that they needed to go back to Golden State with an even series to have that home court advantage.
Yeah, they really need that win. They, I give credit to them. They played better defense. They had their hands up, deflecting those long passes, which I was kind of surprised the Boston Celtics were throwing them. Like, I was trying to throw across court and whatnot against his team, which, I mean, they don't got a lot of size, but they got some quickness out there. And credit to them. They got their hands up, deflecting balls, creating turnovers, and scoring off the turnovers. So I think that's one thing I looked at right there in that game. Plus, Steph Curry. What more can we say about him? Really shouldered the load all game. Really came alive, and especially in that second half, it's kind of really got his team to victory because they needed all 43 of his points in that game, all of it. And you know, do the other folks step up? I don't know. It's really hard to say. Who? To be honest with you, Andrew Wiggins had a big game in terms of rebounding in that part, but he didn't particularly shoot the ball well. Thompson, me and you texted that last week watching Game 3. You said you sent me and said something. I kind of woke Klay Thompson up because I said out there kind of lacking. He turns around, has 18 points, but it don't feel like a good 18 points. The darling of the ball, Jordan Poole, had 14 points, but I mean, didn't have his best shooting game. So I just like credit Steph. He did his thing. Draymond played a little bit better. Let me ask you this about Draymond, D-Lock. Should he be trying to score more in your eyes? Because I think, back in the past with this Warriors team, he shot the ball a little bit more. Now, granted, he ain't the world's best shooter and whatnot, but at least he shoots and stuff. Here, the past couple years, he really does that. Does he need trying to score more? Maybe drive to the basket and whatnot, trying to get his points or something like that?
I'll say this 2 words quickly. Hell no. I don't think so. I think that Draymond needs to know that the impact that he's going to make for the Golden State Warriors is he is a defender, and he's a great defender. So for me, I think that his impact is more so on the defensive side. He doesn't need to really try to hurry up and score for them. Some of them points that he tried to get, we see him every time he tried to jack them damn threes. It like it takes him forever to load up. and get those threes. So for me, I think that he's a bigger defender than anything. I think that he should not try to take women shot. Now, clearly, if it's some shots that he should take. But I just feel like that is not something that he needs to be trying to do as much. They have too many shooters on that team. And he needs to be that person that is more so facilitator and a person that that plays a big part on defense. So for me, I don't think he needs to be trying to take a hell of a lot of shots. He doesn't have like he does Jackson threes from time to time, but hell, who doesn't? I think that he needs to be a person that is really there for the defensive side. Hell, I've been recently playing NBA 2K22 and seeing how much of a defender he is, and clearly that's his job. That's a big priority of his, and the biggest impact he'll make for them. So, I think he needs to be more of a defender, and take shots when clearly they're open, but not as much as they want him to.
I don't know. I just trying to think. You gotta get some other production somewhere. And I want to shout out to the chat. Shout out to Terry Rodriguez. Thank you for the shout out for the getting close to 100 episodes next week, D-Lock. And then he's still saying Warriors in 6.
Hey, that's good.
Yes, sir. Marcus Los, great in the chat. Thank you for showing us love tonight, sir. I just try to figure out ways how Golden State to get other guys involved, because the other guys ain't really stepping up to the plate. For Boston, they doubling Steph any chance they get. I'm not saying they daring the other guys to kind of step up, but it kind of seems that way. And then if Draymond's on the floor, especially offensively, it's 4-on-5. And I'm thinking, like, Steve Curry, you got to switch things up a little bit. Either like in the half court, facilitate the offense through Draymond to kind of get things going, or play him in spots. Throw in Jonathan Kuminga in there. Iguodala, he didn't play at all.
Yeah.
You got to figure out something to get things going. Yeah, he had 8 assists in this game, which is good, but it's got to be more. It's got to be more. Because he can get fouls easy on Grant Williams. That ain't no big problem. It's like, can you get those fouls on Horford and Williams? Can you suck those guys at the paint so you let your guys like Curry, Thompson, Poole to do their work? So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Which, by the way, I kind of hate they doing Game 5 tomorrow on a Monday. I wish it was tonight. But
I thought it was tonight for a minute, but I forgot they got to go back to Golden State.
And Marcus brought an interesting point, D-Lock. He said this series is going 7, and we have to stop being a prisoner of the moment for the team that wins the last game. Would you say to that comment right there about Marcus?
Say it again.
He said this series is going 7, and we have to stop being a prisoner in the moment for the team that wins the game. that wins last game?
That's a tough one. I think, to be honest, what he's saying is kind of true, but I feel like we're being the prisoner in the game. We're being the prisoner in the games if we say it's going to go going to game 7. For me, it's like one team wins and another one just comes back and shows how much they are the better team. But after seeing Golden State, after seeing Boston win the first game, I thought that was going to make the difference. But for me, man, you never know, man. Like, we're seeing the stars show up when they need to in this series. I honestly believe at this point that Clay is going to have that game at some point. Now, the only tricky thing about this series is we don't know who's going to win the MVP trophy because you got players that are inconsistent in their play because of what the other team is doing. So I think it may go to game 7, but we can't just ignore the fact of what's happening in each game. That's the reason why I believe it is going to game 7.
Yeah, I thought I was in the same bandwagon as Taryn was, going to 6. But the way Boston have kind of have these lapses of not kind of going full steam ahead, in which they got a strong advantage on the Warriors. I did a recap after the game. I said this in that recap while I was outside. Boston keeps going away from the driving to the paint against these Warriors team. They keep going away for it, and they keep reverting back to the ISO ball and stuff like that. Stick to your guns. Run the screen and rolls. Drive on these guys between Smart, Tatum, Brown. And Derek White comes in the game, same thing. Drive on these fools. Drive on them. At some point they ain't gonna foul y'all. I mean, they put a half-heart effort on defense, but Steph Curry ain't trying to foul out. Klay Thompson ain't trying to foul out. Poole, he ain't trying to foul out. Young kid like that, he trying to get his shine on him. He ain't trying to foul out like that. One person you could probably get fouled out like that, Draymond. And you take that equation away, smooth sailing. But I don't understand why this Boston Celtics team, D-Lock, has a short-term memory of going away what works for them. I don't understand that. Dribble, drive. Go dribble, layup, there's nothing there, kick it out for an open shot. The hockey passes that they kind of done well in the second half of the season when they kind of did a turnaround. At times they kind of lapse and get away from that. You got to stick with that. I can't emphasize that enough. If they stick to that, D-Lock, I'm not saying they could have wrapped this series earlier, but they could have.
I agree with you. But like that type of stuff that makes it a big difference. But it is. Right now, that's the thing about game planning for both, for Udoka and Steve Kerr. You're at a level where you're seeing what the other team is doing. So you have to plan for it. You have to make your adjustments for it. And that's the reason why, like I said, at some point this game may go to game 7. Every game counts in this year. And you're looking at a situation where like the next game, game 5, like if you don't, this next game is gonna tell it all. So for me, it like you have to plan for every game and make adjustments. So and this is probably going to be one of the best series NBA Finals series we've ever seen. because you have a lot of stars in this series and two very good coaches. Clearly, Steve Kerr and his number of appearances that he made in the NBA Finals, and then Udoka in his first appearance. But two coaches that know the game of basketball and make a big impact um, doing what they're doing. So like we're seeing a great experience in between. I think this is going to be one of the NBA finals that we talk about for years and years to come. Especially being the fact that Boston is one of the teams. So it's going to be something that again comes down to coaching. Draymond needs to play a hell of a lot better. The consistency that he needs to bring, that's gonna play a huge part. But the fact that he's always in some type of foul trouble, that doesn't help anything. I think they were talking about the video that he had. I think the last game, where he just looked like he was out there playing football. Like he looked like a linebacker out there against. Yeah, he was like a linebacker out there against Klay Thompson. Like dude, like he was about to run Klay Thompson over for the rebound. So that kind of stuff, like it just tells you how big of a deal it is moving forward uh, with this series. But for me, I just feel like this is going to be something that many people are going to watch. Clearly, Boston is, going to remember this. We've talked about the fact that hell, that was a 2018 or 2017 NBA Finals team that could continue to keep coming back and forth and talk about how they won championships. Like this is going to be one to watch for plenty of Boston fans, Boston former ball players, and also Golden State former ball players and fans.
Yeah, I wonder, I, I before we change subjects here, I kind of go back to Steve Kerr here for a second. It seemed like I don't know if you noticed it or not, or y'all in the chat, but when these guys like Curry, Thompson are kind of hot, he sticks that rotation to kind of steal in that fourth quarter or whatever. And I was saying to myself, besides game one, all these games been kind of close. You you let these guys rest in July or so. Because you can't lose momentum. You can't take off Klay Thompson, who's kind of confidence. I want to say confidence is shot, but it's just like that magic is kind of gone for him. If he's feeling it, you gotta leave him out there to kind of get that confidence back up. If Steph Curry's cooking like he was in that second half, you guys keep him out there and let him cook. Don't rest him, whatever. Let him cook. But that's my thing with Steve Kerr. Is like, damn dog. Sometimes you kind of step on your own toes, and you kind of don't let things ride. Let it ride. I guarantee you, Phil back in the day, Michael Jordan sitting there cooking the New York Knicks, the Pacers, you know, who else I can think of? The Hawks or Orlando Magic, somebody in the Charlotte Hornets. Phil left them out here in the playoffs or the finals. So you gotta kind of go back in what he saw in the past and kind of apply it to here, in my humble opinion. Hey, if Thompson's hot, leave him out there. God knows he needs it. If Curry's hot, let him stay out there because you're gonna need it if your team wants to win the championship.
I feel like at that point that is true, and it just right now they got to find out that chemistry in that rotation. Now, Golden State is one of those teams that have a lot of guards. So now you're looking at a Peyton Pritchard for Boston, Derek White for Boston. That's going to have to play big minutes. They're going to have to come out there and play some huge minutes to make that impact. But this is the reason why I say this matchup is probably one of the better matchups that we've seen in a long time. So this series can go to 7. I just don't see a team. I don't see a team on the back to back these next 3 or 4 games. These 3 games, man. Like it got to go to 7. There's no way it's not going to go to 7. Klay Thompson came alive, but consistently feel like he's gonna do that.
No.
Like, yeah, like it just, you know what I'm saying? And Klay, like it's just, Steph Curry came back alive a little bit. Do you see that on a consistent basis? And both Boston is one of the better defending teams. So I don't know if I see that on a consistent basis from Golden State. So I think, like I said, this game is going to come down to the wire, which is great. I mean, it feels like a damn Super Bowl if it goes to a game 7 to me, because in the NFL you only have one game. College football you only have one game. For college basketball you only have one game. So it'd be great if it goes to like a game 7.
Yeah. I just think, the rent is going to be coming due on Klay Thompson this summer. I see it. Maybe not. But I think the rent is coming due for Klay Thompson. And then watch
it. You think they move him at the end of the season?
I look at it this way. There's a 60-40 chance they do. 60 that they do it, 40 that don't. Now, the 40, I'll say this. The reason why they don't do it is that they don't believe in just enough in Jordan Poole to pull that trigger to do it. And you haven't seen enough of Moses Moody to kind of really move off him. Now, the 60% why they likely move him is because they paid a lot in luxury tax here the past couple years. A lot. Sometimes, we talked in the past on the show, sometimes rich people kind of want to dial back their spending. And you mentioned Jordan Poole. I mentioned Moses Moody. You got 2 guards right there. One drafting lottery, one drafting late in this first round. You got to see what you got to get out of them. So, yeah, it's nice to have Klay around, but sometimes business decisions need to be made. And you gotta give a good look to these other 2 guards here, because you gotta see what they got. You gotta see what they contribute. If you didn't think these guys can contribute or do good for your team, then you should trade those picks away, especially those lottery ones. So I think it's 60-40. I think they likely move them. 40%, I think, if this comes down that they don't believe in Jordan Poole just yet.
That's a big move, boy. That's going to move Klay Thompson, especially him coming off the injury. Well, that's why I say it's a risk right there all along.
And plus the injuries too. You got 2 fresh legs that are a decade younger, just about than Klay Thompson. You gotta see where that goes. If Klay Thompson gets another leg injury, he's already like our age already, so that's gonna put another strain right there. But what's your prediction for Game 5, D-Lock? Who comes out and win that game tomorrow night?
For me, I think that that's a tough one right there, boy. To be honest with you, I think that Golden State is going to win the next game.
Ooh.
I don't see them losing at home. How big this is, I don't think they lose the next game. I understand that, what Boston did. I just don't know if they can lose at home. That just doesn't. Nah, to me, I don't see it happening. I think Golden State is going to take that. And that's going to be the bigger difference. Boston's going to have to step up. Now, this is where the game is going to be interesting. Is when Golden State is up 3-2.
So you going State for tomorrow night?
Yep, I like Klay Thompson to have a hell of a game. I think Steph could be on that start.
I know one person gonna be happy in the chat that I'm gonna go this route. And I want to shout out to Mike Pat. Thank you for tuning in with us, sir. We talked off the air about this. You always had this inkling, especially when we talk about the Boston Celtics and whatnot. You felt like it's this their year. Well, I'm going that route. I think Boston wins Game 5 tomorrow night. It pains me to say that I ain't the biggest Boston sports person at all. But if they can get out of this bipolar stage, how they play offensively and attack these guys and whatnot, make Steph Curry work, and kind of force these other guys to make plays and score and whatnot. And think about this, D-Lock, we know this. The Celtics got the defensive horses to go against these boys. They really do. Coach Yukota got those boys where it comes in ready to play. So I'll take Boston Game 5. They'll win that game. I think it'll be about when they win by 5 or so. And then we'll see if they try and close it out in Game 6 on Thursday. But I'm going Boston to win Game 5.
That's gonna be a tough one. You gotta win it. You gotta win them in Golden State.
I got them winning Golden State. They did it once. And Game 1 at that too. And the way they did it. I'm not saying Steph Curry can have a big game again, but he could. But you said you're hoping Klay Thompson can have a big one. I mean, he could, but damn. If it's gonna be a big game, it's gotta be in this one right here. It has to. Because if he don't, I don't see him show up for the rest of the series.
Yeah, that's true. I just think at this point, this is the opportunity that you got to show up. So for me, it's just at this point they gotta. This is probably the most important game. I don't know. Well, it's hard as he goes and stay let this game flip.
I mean, I don't think it'd be hard, but I don't know. It just, the corridor guys are like mid-30s, and you got some young legs that are like a decade younger than them. Maybe except for like Marcus Smart and Al Horford, but you get what I'm saying with Brown and Tatum. Terry Rodriguez said he got the Warriors winning the next two. So, he's on the same boat with you. I got the Celtics winning next game. We'll see about game 6. And then you, sir, you got the Warriors winning. So we'll see how our predictions hold up tomorrow night. And speaking about young legs, D-Lock, let's turn our attention to the NBA draft. Get a little draft out talk and whatnot. The draft will be like after these NBA finals. Lots of lots of buzz around the top. Who gets drafted, who goes where, who be the top pick. There's like 3 guys, claiming for that spot. So we'll see on the 23rd of June. I'll let you go first. For your Orlando Magic, who do you vision them drafting that top spot? Who do you see them thinking their next franchise player is?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think right now, to be honest with you, though, I don't think I'm gonna pick what I believe that Orlando Magic would do, not what I think it should do. I think they go Jabari Smith. I feel like right now the way he is moving up in the draft, I think that they're not gonna pass. I mean, you have Jonathan Isaac on the contract. You're good with your guards, Markel Fultz, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony. You're good at the guard position. But for me, I just feel like they're gonna take Jabari Smith, who is very similar to like a Jonathan Isaac type player. But I think that then you have Wendell Carter under contract, who they extended, who they love, with Brandon Wagner. So for me, I think they're gonna put Jabari Smith in that fourth position, the power forward position, and they're gonna expect him to do a big impact. So that's definitely who I think they're gonna have number one, or who they're gonna choose the number one overall.
I think for me, for the Magic, you kind of like need that go-to guy. I'm pretty sure you probably agree with this. Like it's like always the guys that have been drafted that's come through that organization throughout the years. Nobody's developed to that go-to guy. You can't just pinpoint and say, okay, hey, Jalen Suggs, he's gonna be our guy. Jonathan Isaac, he's gonna be our guy. Cole Anthony, he's gonna be our guy. So forth. Reason why I think they should go Jabari Smith, he's been a late bloomer. And what I mean by that, if you follow through the high school ranks and stuff like that, you saw potential, but you didn't see he didn't come in like he did at Auburn like he was in high school. And pains me to do this. Get rid of Bruce Pearl. Ugh. That, he got this guy's confidence and stuff like that to be out and be that scorer and to develop to that top player in the nation or one of the top players in the nation. I think I know what your concern is with your Magic, especially the past few years. You know, they haven't done a good job of that. You know, but I still take him. He got the more upside. With Holmgren for me for the Magic, right? I kind of trying to think where does he fit in. You mentioned Wendell Carter. I mean, that's fine to resign him, but you know, I figure, Holmgren, you stick him in that center spot. I think that's where he kind of like will flourish better. Because with Holmgren, I give him he can dribble, he can drive. He is long and lengthy, but I think you can work with that. With Carter, I think we've seen what the best we're going to see out of him. And plus, he's about 6'8", 6'9", maybe 6'8". Holmgren, I think he's like a legit 7 foot, 7'1". That's a difference maker down there, down low. Plus, I think fit wise, Holmgren fit was better because you got Holmgren there in the center spot. Isaac, if they decide to retain him, Wagner, Suggs, Anthony, Fultz. Things kind of like flushes out better that way. If you didn't keep a Wendell Carter under contract. Now, if you go Jabari Smith, where I think they should go, Trey Jonathan Isaac, get some value out of that, and sit the kid out there and let him play. You got Carter at the 5, let Smith be that stretch 4, and see how that goes about. Continue the development of Wagner. You hope Fultz can be half-assed when he plays. And Cole Anthony is there as well, and Jalen Suggs as well. I would say Pancaro should be in the mix, but his defense ain't up to snuff. And I think that's why I got him kind of lower. Not low, but he's still in top 3, but low on the board in my eyes.
And to be honest, I just don't think that the Magic will actually pass him up. I think that Chet Holmgren is a hell of a piece because he's an all around. But at this point, what the Magic have, I don't think they move on Jabari. They have to answer that question what they do with Jonathan Isaac. That's going to be the big difference. So, looking at a situation where they have a few questions that they have to answer, before this paper, they have all this time to do that anyway. Definitely, pick 2, pick 3. They're in a position where they're just waiting for the next best player available, and they're in a great position in my eyes.
So, I that's what I think the Magic should do. I agree with you. Your Magic has kind of done odd things. Trade for Wendell Carter, but you still got Mo Bamba in the fold. You didn't turn around and flip Mo Bamba to get at least some draft capital back or whatever. You kept him there, and now you ain't gonna bring him back for nothing. And I think you really kind of stunted his growth from not playing him early in his career. So we'll see what the Magic do on the 23rd. Do they go Smith? Do they go Holmgren? A good debate to have here in the next couple weeks. The OKC Thunder, D-Lock, number 2 overall. I guess whoever gets chosen between Holmgren and Smith, OKC would gladly take those guys. With all the picks that OKC has accumulated the past couple of years, do you sense them continue to go through the draft route, or do you see them trading in their chips for somebody down the line?
For me, I ain't gonna lie. When they built all these picks, I was thinking that what they're gonna do is they're trying to see what Michael Jordan. But they're trying to see what LeBron is gonna do. LeBron had already made it known that he wants to play with his son. So at this point, it's more so of okay, do the OKC hold all those picks until they get an opportunity to get Bronny. So I think that OKC is going to take this pick. I think they do get Chet Holmgren. I think that's already like a bona fide pick for them. That you can't pass him up with SDA sitting there. Shea Gilgeous Alexander already in the roster. So I think that they grabbed that. But with so many picks, so many options, they're building towards now, but more so towards the future because they have so many options. So I think it's going to be a tough decision that they got to make. But Chet Holmgren definitely goes in there too.
Yeah, I think they choose whoever Orlando them choose. Pablo Bencaro, I think he may be in play here. We'll see. But I mean, you brought an interesting theory right there. You want to talk about buzz and stuff like that for your team. Hey, we're not having LeBron for a year to play with his son. You sell out about damn near every game. To go along with the Jarvis Smith and or Chet Holmgren, then going along with Shea Gilgeous and Giddy as well. Not a bad look right there. Now, in the same breath, though, will LeBron and family go for staying in Oklahoma City? You know, nothing wrong. I mean, I'm just saying this. Nothing wrong with Oklahoma City, fine city, all that stuff. But talking about a guy that used to live in Miami and L.A. He used to live in Cleveland, Akron. But you get my point. But that's another thing to maybe consider. Like, does LeBron and his cohorts kind of put some buzz out there that he don't want to go at these certain places? They got this draft capital, and OKC want to make a splash like that. They put the word out saying, "Nah, we ain't going to OKC," or they put the word out saying, "Hey, we play my son get drafted by Cleveland, Miami, so forth, like that." Then we'll ride that way. Then OKC got to consider things like, well, no, we'll just keep our picks and go another way. But whoever they get between Holmgren, Smith, Miles, or Picaro, I think they'll go great for them. They need like somebody big down low, where they may be, to kind of help with that because they take some guys down low, but they really haven't taken off like they hope. So who you take, and if that guy develops well with Giddy and Alexander, it kind of takes you back to OKC of years past of Harden, Durant, and Westbrook. So if you're getting this lottery pick, Alexander's back healthy, Giddy develops as the player he is, you got some little deja vu right there with a nice young core for this squad.
That's what I'm saying. Like you got a couple of options. So just what you got to do with that and what you have the options for. Uh, so for me, I just feel like this draft is very important. It's going to make a big difference, especially in those pieces in the top five that we talked about, or we are talking about.
And then number 3, the Houston Rockets. Real quick, a lot of people have saw Pablo Bencaro right here. We know the story about Stephen Silas not having the best year with Houston that first year or so. Kevin Porter, kind of a hothead and whatnot. This team is rebuilding. John Wall didn't play at all, which I predicted. Is Pancaro a good spot for that young team like that with all the issues going on? Or does Steven Silas kind of get things right and kind of build that team into a nice contender?
You see where
Houston.
at? I feel like this is one of those situations where you're doomed no matter what you do. Because most of the time when they hire these new coaches, most of the time when they know who they want, what they want to give a person an opportunity, the opportunity only lasts for a couple of years. The James Harden situation was huge. The fact that James Harden came out to practice with a book bag on and then went to Brooklyn without his book bag made a big difference.
Yep.
I just feel like that just impacted Houston big time. I think they have a few decent pieces there. Kevin Porter looks like he's going to be an outstanding player for the longest. But for me, it's just about the fact of would they give Silas the opportunity, Coach Silas the opportunity to develop him to win with him, to build around him. But we know this too well, right? We don't see this happen often. Now they have a great draft. I think they do get Paolo at Duke from Duke. That pick is just, we see this often, but the second or third or fourth year, they're letting the coach go trying to rebuild with another coach. And I think that's what happens at Houston. They're in a situation where they're not in the East where they can play bad and make the playoffs, but they're in the West. You play bad, your coach is probably going to get fired for sure. So for me, I think that Coach Silas has maybe another year, a year and a half, and they're going to let him go. But they definitely get Paulo at 3.
Yeah, I think Paulo. I think he'd be the odd man out to go to 3, which ain't a bad pick. I wish going to this team, he'll have better influence there, but he won't. But we'll see how that thing shake out. I kind of wish he worked. He'd be a better defender, and you don't. And looking at up down that Houston roster, you don't see that. Those guys on there. Do you play him in the stretch 4 and put Christian Wood at the 5? And then, got guys like Porter and Jalen Green in the fold, and then, whoever you throw out the 3. Or do you kind of, if you don't trade John Wall, do you send him out there, put him point to go along with Jalen Green and put Porter at the 3 and go that route? I don't know.
At this point, what the hell you doing with John Wall? He ain't doing nothing but being at practice. At this point, you need to decide what you want to do because he's not really doing too much. So for me, you need to make that final decision of what you're doing with him because right now he's just being the extra person on the roster. You're paying him. Clearly, I think they came to some type of agreement where he's not going to play. So they need to go ahead and trade him for better pieces. Now make that third draft pick something important and try to win. At least try to win something, especially with Kevin Porter.
And before wrap this up, if the Rockets, if you really trying to rebuild, trying to get something out of Wall, like you mentioned. I know a lot of teams are set at point guard, but he can help out somewhere. I don't know where. His salary's so bloated. I don't know what's a good fit for him. One team I kind of thought about is the LA Clippers. You traded Reggie Jackson. Luke Kennard, throw in a first round pick or so down the line and maybe go that route. But you got to figure out something to do with John Wall. You can't just pay him and sit on the bench. I know they try and work the Russ trade, but they want their first round pick, which ain't gonna happen. Maybe they come back to it. Russ has got that expiring. Who knows? But for Houston, I think Pancaro, if he can develop to that offensive, that good two-way player, I think he'd be very solid in the league. So we'll see how things, shake out that way for Houston and whatnot. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in with us. Shout out to the chat tonight. Thank y'all for y'all contributions tonight. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can definitely find me at Black Bass 813. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning getting back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the third time. Yeah, I thought I just talked about basketball and football. Nowhere in hell. The Lightning is my squad as well. So I'm definitely gonna be tweeting about them as well. Let them know they can find you at, man.
Please do follow the show at Fast Break at IESR. That's Fast Break IESR. After each game, we've been giving out videos and our quick reactions of our recaps of each NBA final game. So please do follow us on Twitter. Do follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. Also, I do have a show on the side called The Crooks Process. I dropped 2 episodes yesterday. 1, talk about Alabama men's basketball and their season. And 2, talk about the Tennessee Titans and their draft picks. Yes, I know it's June and stuff like that. But, life happens. Child comes. Got to put some things to the side. But those 2 episodes are up. So do get as a listen. Do check out iesportsradio.com. Follow us on all social media networks. They got, like I said, to the chat again. And we'll talk to y'all next week.